views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
And hello, everyone, and welcome to Open, the one and only show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm your host, Darren Hyman. Today, we'll update you on what's happening in and around our borough, as well as across New York City. Coming up on today's show, we go front and center, talking with the Knowledge House as it's expanding its programming to serve young people. Then afterwards, we'll talk about a company that's dedicated to providing virtual support and the development of resiliency. And then we'll learn about a not-for-profit organization that's dedicated to enriching the quality of life for people in need through acts of giving. And then we'll also meet another not-for-profit that's working to ensure universal, equitable access to healthy, fresh, affordable food. And then later, we'll meet and talk with the social media influencer, model coordinator Stephen Atkins, who's doing not just grooming, but also fashion. We'll explain to you what he's doing a little bit later on. And then we'll discuss Fresh Direct, who is sponsoring the upcoming 2021 Tribeca Film Festival. We want you to stay tuned and get ready because Open starts right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Open. Today is Wednesday, June the 2nd, and you're watching Open, a live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to encourage you to watch on Manhattan Neighborhood Network as Open is being broadcast live simultaneously on the M&N channel. So we welcome our Manhattan Neighborhood Network viewers. And then we also encourage you, stay connected to us on our social media platforms. That is BronxNet TV. And then always on our website at bronxnet.org. Well, a lot has certainly gone on throughout the course of the past week. Can't take you through everything, but we certainly can share a couple of things with our Bronx updates. We start off with news in the world of politics. The Bronx Democratic Party is backing the largest number of women candidates ever in the New York City Council race. Our BronxNet reporter, Lena Green, gives us the story.
The Bronx Democratic Party is backing the largest number of female candidates ever for the New York City Council. If elected, the candidates will make up the first female majority of Bronx legislatures.
They're running for elected office in record numbers, not only in the Bronx, but across the city and at all levels of government. And we're excited to help build this momentum.
The party faced criticism for ignoring women candidates in previous years, but new leadership launched a new initiative called 21 in 21 that focuses on getting 21 women elected this year.
I think that women are really inspired by the last 4 years of the presidency that we had. I think that there's more support for women to run, particularly in the city. They're truly passionate about seeing their communities improve.
Collado also says that the 8-to-1 matching rate, where the city will match every $1 raised for a campaign with $8, helps women and new candidates run for office.
They're passionate about what they're doing. We have 5 incredible female candidates who they're running strong campaigns, but they have a very diverse experience. They're truly running to represent the communities that they have lived in and participated in for a number of years.
A community advisory board in each district helps vet candidates for the Democratic Party. They interview candidates and help make recommendations regarding who the party should endorse.
One of the people on the advisory board asked one of the candidates a question of a particular bus in the district. We wouldn't have known to ask that question because we don't live there. So having these people help inform our decisions has been very helpful.
Primary elections are on June 22nd, and the City Council elections will be held on November 2nd. For BronxNet, I'm Lana Green.
And thank you, Lana. We shift now to education news. In other news, Mary Mitchell Family and Youth After School Program is teaching children the fundamentals of gardening. Our BronxNet reporter, Nirvana Simon, brings us the details on this very special happening.
The Community Center Mary Mitchell has partnered with the Maple Garden to help the youth of the community in the Bronx to learn about gardening, planting, healthy eating, and living.
In 2017, in good company, Bronx Green Up from the New York Botanical Garden and the Mary Mitchell Family and Youth Center partnered to revitalize the Garden of Youth. Former Executive Director of Mary Mitchell Community Center and late Heidi Hines spoke on the initiative about the gardens before her passing.
We decided that this garden was important because if we transform this garden and we get the kids from the schools in this neighborhood to come here, we will be able to transform their way of thinking about food.
One of the center's goals is to increase access and bring local fresh produce to underserved communities in the Bronx. This center is widely known amongst the Throgs Neck section of the Bronx as it offers a variety of after-school programs and activity for kids. Current Executive Director Elena Rodriguez speaks on some of the other programs at the center has to offer.
We have an after-school program here, and it's primarily for children between the ages of 5 to 12 years old that go to the local schools in the neighborhood. We offer pickup or drop-off services, and when they come to the Mary Mitchell Center, they get a hot-prepared supper, a healthy supper that's prepared just a few hours before, and we do homework help.
The Mary Mitchell Center hours have changed due to COVID-19, but the after-school program is still open. To find out more information on enrollment in the center, you can visit their website. Reporting for BronxNet, Nirvana Simon.
Thank you, Nirvana. That's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We want you to stay with us. Open continues coming up after this.
This year, New York City began using ranked choice voting in primary and special elections for local offices, such as mayor, public advocate, comptroller, borough president, and city council. Ranked choice voting means that voters can rank up to 5 candidates in order of preference, instead of casting a vote for just one. You can still vote for just one candidate if you prefer. So, how will your ballot look? Your ballot will look the same as always, except now there will be a checkbox with ranking numbers depending on how many candidates there are in a race. So how does it work? If your first choice gets over 50% of votes, they automatically win the race. If none of the candidates get more than 50% of votes on the first round, then the candidate with the least amount of votes gets eliminated, and the votes get recounted again in a second round of counting. Here's an example. Let's rank colors. I like blue the most, so I'm marking it 1. I like purple 2nd, green 3rd, and orange 4th. Okay, my votes are in. Now other votes are counted and the results are as follows. Blue earned 36%, purple earned 27%, green earned 19%, and orange earned 18%. As you can see, none of these colors earned more than 50% of the votes. So the one with the smallest amount of votes gets eliminated. Voters who chose orange as their first choice now have their votes distributed to their second choice. This continues until a candidate receives 50% of the votes and becomes the official winner of the race. That's it. That's ranked choice voting. Ready? Let's vote.
And welcome back to the show. The Knowledge House is a social change organization that's empowering and sustaining a talent pipeline of technologists, entrepreneurs, and digital leaders who will uplift communities out of poverty. Now, since its founding, I should say, they've grown to serve nearly 2,000 people in New York. Here now to share a little bit more of the details is the Director of Programs and Partnerships at the Knowledge House, Constance Barnes. And Constance, good to have you back.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and so as we are, I mean, congratulations. We're trying to move a little bit further out of COVID, but the work still continues for you. A little bit more about the Knowledge House and the work that you're doing presently.
Sure. As you mentioned, the Knowledge House has been around since 2014. We're in our 7th year, and this year we're expanding. So we're really excited to be moving out into Newark, Atlanta, and Los Angeles. So we're super excited to be reaching out to new partners, expanding, reaching more students and more adults, and providing access to technology in places where they haven't had it before.
And when we talk about this digital divide, obviously in communities of color, low-income neighborhoods, they seem to be the ones that are predominantly affected by this digital divide. And you're pressing your assistance out a little bit more.
And so when we talk about digital divide, I think that COVID has really pulled back the curtain and shown us what's really missing in our communities, right? And when we talk about digital divide, I think it's very broad, right? It's about basic digital literacy skills. It's about having access to technology. We know a lot of people didn't have Wi-Fi. So one of the great things at the Knowledge House, not only do we provide our students with laptops, we also make sure that they have Wi-Fi access, right? Because we know that if we want them to be successful in technology, we have to make sure they're equipped with the basics. And then to further close the digital divide, we provide them with mentors, with volunteers, with tutors, and at the very end of programs, they have internships in technology. So we are truly closing the gap from the beginning to the end to make sure that our students are set up for success in technology.
Not just technology, there are different areas that you're also trying to help them with financially, emotionally.
Exactly.
And so give us a little bit about the emotional, because students come and they're trying to be the best they can, but sometimes their bandwidth is challenged.
That's right. That's right. And so one of our actually core values is having a growth mindset, right? And we try to encourage our students to develop that, inherit that, and really believe in that. But one of the great things about the Knowledge House that's different from a lot of boot camps, we have case specialists who work very closely with our students. So we work with students on issues, if they have issues with housing, if it's about immigration, if it's just about figuring out where your next meal comes from, because we know the populations that we serve, we work together to do that. Our case specialists meet with students monthly. They have phone calls in between just to make sure, again, that students, like you said, are set up for success completely. One of my main roles as the Director of Programs and Partnerships is to build out partnerships across the city and across the nation with other organizations who can provide some of that wraparound service for us.
Yeah. And I know also that you're pretty big on scholarships. You're providing scholarships as well for students.
Well, it's a fellowship. So our programs are free. That's the other thing that sets us apart from other organizations. Our programs are free and students get a stipend. So when you think about other places where you're paying to go to school and you have to pay for a laptop, we don't charge anybody anything if you meet the requirements. So for our high school students, they get a stipend in the summer. For our adult students or our 18 years or older students, they get monthly stipends. So again, we are making sure that we're not just addressing one issue. We are looking at a holistic student and providing them with the support and the resources to truly be successful in our programs.
When we talk about helping out students, it's really 40% of American students sometimes drop out because of financial need. And so how important are these stipends and programs such as this?
Many students are faced with the cost of college that, when you're a first generation college student and you come from communities that have been underserved, college is daunting. You may start and then you find out you can't continue to pay for it. That's what sets the Knowledge House apart. Our programs are completely free. We're providing those stipends to help support people because we know one thing about working in technology is that you have to practice. Right? It's not enough to just be in school and get the training. You have to have time to practice. But a lot of our students would need to work. So being able to provide those stipends allows them to maybe not work as much in those jobs that they would have had that are not related to tech, but actually be able to spend time working on their projects, developing apps, and doing more study so that they can be ready for those full-time jobs at the end. So, we take away some of those costs that students would incur if they were going to colleges, if they were going to other programs who charge, or some programs actually take a portion of your income. So the Knowledge House is completely different, right? In that we're free and we're providing support. And like you mentioned, not just financial support, not just laptop support, but really wraparound support to make sure people are successful.
And as we are literally on the verge of summer, what can your students and what can the community expect?
Well, we are in the middle of recruitment season, so I'm glad that you asked about that. We are accepting applications for both our high school program and our adult program. Now, the cool thing about the high school program, it runs along the same time as the summer youth. So students would be in the program for July and August. They get a stipend. They learn some really cool things about tech. And what I love about the high school program is they get business skills, like you mentioned as well, right? So students who are in our high school program will come out at the end knowing how to really set up some cool websites, maybe help some of the businesses in our community to be successful, and have a skill that they can take with them for their lifetime. For our adult programs, we're also recruiting, so the applications are open, and we are looking, again, for people in all of our partner states, but of course, start right here at home.
Well, Constance, it's been great having you on the show again. Thank you. Continue the great work at the Knowledge House, and hopefully you have a great summer.
Thank you. You too.
All righty, Constance Barnes. She is the Director of Programs and Partnerships at the Knowledge House. Now, if you want more information, we encourage you visit their website at knowledgehouse.org. And we also tell you, please don't go anywhere. We've got more open coming up right after this. And welcome back to the show. The world was not prepared for COVID-19, and many people suffered physically as well as emotionally. TLC Virtual Resiliency is a company that's dedicated to providing virtual support and the development of resiliency. The organization aims to help employees manage stress as well as achieve wellness and become effective. Here now to share a little bit more about the organization and the work that they do, I'm joined by the chief psychologist and co-CEO of TLC Virtual Resiliency, Robert Goldman. And Robert, good to have you here with us here on Open.
Good to have you. Thank you for having me, Darren.
Well, listen, when we talk about this here, obviously, a lot of us are still trying to navigate the COVID-19 situation, and stress is a major word. Talk to us about the work that you're doing in helping people really overcome stress.
Sure. So a little bit background about me. I'm an attorney and a psychologist. I started off first as an attorney. Then I went back to school and I got my doctorate in psychology. And in the wake of COVID-19, so many of my attorney colleagues were, for the first time, coming out of the woodworks and admitting that they had a problem with anxiety and depression. We already know this, but the stigma attached to it prevents them from talking about it. So I saw this as a call to action, and I started doing virtual Zoom meetings to discuss the importance of like resiliency, and it really took off. And now we have like 570 members at a virtual lawyers lounge talking about stress and anxiety. And it's finally acknowledged that we need to be prepared, because clearly we were not prepared for COVID-19 from a, infrastructure biologically, but we also were not prepared psychologically. And that's what resiliency is all about, is building up better preparation so you can be stronger when the next stressor starts or commences. So what we did is we've expanded what TLC VR was doing for the lawyers to expand it to all different companies, doctors, businesses, and things like that that are not prepared, that are hurting, and need to take valuable lessons from what we learned from COVID-19.
So what are some of the stresses that that you're hearing, that you're coming across that maybe we're not so familiar with?
So what's really interesting that I'm doing as I do these meetings with different professionals, I'm realizing that everybody has different stressor that's associated with their jobs, right? But one thing that everybody is stressed about at this point, I think, is what is the return to the new normal, whatever that's going to look like, and how are they going to manage going back to work, and what's going to change? How much are we going to be working from home? Have we discovered a new way of working? So you know what? I don't have to be in the office. And that's a double-edged sword, because one of the stresses I've noticed is that people may feel that they're more productive because they're able to stay home and do their work, but they're not able to set up boundaries so that, when their office becomes their home, and that's not a good thing. You may feel that you're being more productive, but you could potentially burn out and lack the socialization that is so important to resiliency.
Yeah. And when we talk about socialization, obviously a lot of people are still stuck in this isolation socialization challenge, and that's a huge stressor all by itself. But we also learned a lot about mental health during this time, that it really is a huge issue affecting the average person, from lawyers on down to the everyday person. Give us a little bit about the approach that you're taking towards mental health.
Yeah, so May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's where people are urged to step out and acknowledge mental illness, that we all do struggle. Many of us struggle with anxiety and depression and things like this. So it's important to raise awareness. And what I love about doing these Zoom meetings, we meet with each company to figure out what your needs are, and then we divide up the employees, and we have different topics specific to resiliency. So then most of them are psychologically based, evidence-based, I should say. So we might talk about mindfulness. We might talk about the importance of letting go, something we call radical acceptance. All these different types of evidence-based psychological workshops we offer to this specific company. And we talk about psychological concepts, not in a stigmatizing way, but in an insight way, so that we seek to help and change behavior that's more functional as opposed to dysfunctional. Because I think we've gotten into some unhealthy habits, but also some healthy habits that we need to continue on.
Yeah, yeah. And I know you're paying a lot of attention to healthcare professionals too. And so for somebody who wants to become a part of these conversations, a part of this dynamic, how do they go about doing that?
So if they're interested in joining us, they can contact me. My personal email, I'll share that. It's rgoldy at AOL.com. They can also go to my our website, I should say, www.TLC Virtual Resiliency. And if you go on the website, you'll see everything that we're about and all the things that we offer to individuals and companies.
Yeah. And so as you're in, we're getting closer to the summer, what do you see the conversation turning to now?
I think that the attention now is about, the return to normal. At the same time, how do we make up for lost time in terms of, vacation, connections, and parties, and reaching out to others as we are able to, connect with each other more than we have in the past. We might become overwhelmed with that. So it's all about balance, right? It's about, how do we ease back in? How do we maintain connections and at the same time balance our work? And I think it's going to be a unique challenge for all of us, because we've never dealt with this before as a human, right? I mean, this is really kind of new. Like, it's almost like waking out of hibernation, and not, where's the balance where we go full bore to party all the time, and at the same time being productive and taking care of our mental health. And I think that is uncharted territory that we need to be hyper vigilant about and aware. And I think that COVID may be over, but there are long lasting effects to it that we need to be sensitive to and be aware of.
It's going to require communication. It's going to require dialogue. And Robert Goldman, thank you so much for being with us, talking about TLC's virtual resiliency. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me, and have a great day.
All righty, want to let you know. Thank you. And if you want more information about the organization, please visit the website, tlcvirtualresiliency.com. And we encourage you, please don't go anywhere because Open will return right after this. And welcome back to the show. The St. George's Society of New York is one of the oldest charities in the United States with the mission of enriching the quality of life for people in need in the tri-state area. Now, recently, St. George's Society of New York announced that 24 students from Lehman as well as Hunter colleges will receive scholarships for the 2020-2021 academic year. Here now to give us a little bit more is the Executive Director of the St. George's Society, Claire Reisman, and then also Senior at Lehman College, Jasmine Jackson, and we're glad to have you both.
Thank you for having us, Darren.
Thank you. So, Claire, for somebody who may not be so familiar with St. George's, give us a little bit more background into what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to. So the society was founded in 1770, so 251 years ago. And it was really there to provide support to people who found themselves in need of either help settling into the New York area, into the US, or money to get back home to the UK. And since that time, we've expanded the program so that we support people from the UK and the Commonwealth who are in the New York area. So we're really a New York charity with British DNA.
And so you provide assistance, and Jasmine is one of those beautiful recipients. Talk to me, Jasmine, about being a recipient of the program.
Sure. So I first heard about the scholarship last semester in the fall, and one of my professors found out about it. She shooted me an email, and this is an interesting scholarship opportunity, you should apply. So I did, and just using the funds for that to buy myself a new flute, because I'm a music student at Lehman and I'm a flutist. So just using those funds to help me get a new instrument was very, very helpful, because the one that I had at that time was getting old on me, and it just wasn't displaying my proper and potential skill set. So just able to do that was very helpful and very supportive.
Did it feel good to have that weight lifted off of your shoulders?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. Literally, you're able to actually be of benefit to students, and in such a way that actually it lifts the burden, so that way students can concentrate on their education and other things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the important thing to know about our organisation is it's a community. We've all been strangers in a strange place, and we've all recognised the support of a network and a group of people who are just trying to do the right thing by others. And small gestures, and whether it's giving up their time or their effort, their expertise, or their money, really can make a big impact in the lives of everyone. So we're really proud of having a strong community and network. And a lot of the people that are in our group are professionals. So they have this incredible resource of people that know other people that can then help. And I arrived in this role in October, and I've been blown away by just the offers of support for all of our programs. And it's wonderful when you meet people like Jasmine. Unfortunately, this year it's all been via Zoom, but when you meet people virtually or in person, and you hear the impact it's had on their lives.
Talk to me about, how do you select your scholars?
So we work very closely with the colleges. We started off in 2008 just with Lehman, and then We expanded to Hunter, and last year we expanded to all five boroughs. So we work very closely with the schools. We set the criteria. There has to be some connection to the UK or the Commonwealth, but that's either first or second generation. And then they say this student's amazing and just needs a little bit of support to get them over the line. What we wanted to do was, with the small amount of money that we had, was have a big impact in the in the sort of people's lives. And Lehman College told us that graduation rates across America were 40%, graduation rates at CUNY colleges were 56%. And so by just helping students through that final year, we've got a graduation rate of 98% of our scholars. So that's phenomenal, and we're really proud of all of them, and especially in this sort of period of graduation. It's wonderful for all of us.
Yeah. Can you talk about the amount of people that you had as applicants? I mean, you talk about having the UK and the Commonwealth as criteria. One would ask the question, like, how many people are from the UK, the Commonwealth, that you are actually connecting with in these schools?
Well, it's a surprising amount. I mean, if you think about the size of the Commonwealth, that's 54 countries. So Southeast Asia, a lot of Southeast Asia, large parts of Africa, and obviously a large part of the Caribbean. So we have the majority of our scholars are from those areas. I don't know how many originally apply, because the schools work that through for us. What we get is a sort of a shorter group of the really sort of strong applicants. But over the lifetime of the program since 2008, we've had raised $1 million and spent $1 million on the scholarships, and supported over 400 students. So it's a very healthy number.
Yeah. So Jasmine, when you applied, how'd you feel? Did you feel like you're going to get it? Was there a lot of anxiety? How'd you feel in this process?
In the process, I felt pretty good, not necessarily any anxiety. With regular scholarships, there's always, a mass of students applying. And it's just, if you get it, it's great. If not, then, just keep applying to whatever opportunity you find. But with St. George's, it was just really a spur of the moment thing. And just, finding it at that time and be able to get it was just really a great opportunity.
Yeah. Turned out to be a great fit, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. And Claire, I mean, obviously that's what you want to do. You want to have that great fit. You want to have more students. And so if there's students or parents that are out there watching right now, talk about how they can get connected.
Yeah, so really it's look out on the college websites. They talk about the scholarships that are available. Look out for those. Speak to your the administration office about how you can apply. We are reaching the sort of deadline for this year's applicants. We select the next tranche in July, but we don't specify on what the area of study can be. I think we've had 46 different fields of study. We've had people that have gone on to land jobs with top accountancy firms, or people that have gone on to further education. One, in fact, who's at Harvard Medical School, and some that have gone into nursing. So it's a huge range. All of the students that we have are doing wonderful things, and we're excited to help them their sort of early career enrichment. So speak to your schools is the big thing. And if there's anybody that's interested in supporting us, go to our website, click donate, and help us keep, live the dreams of, or help our scholars live their dreams.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming and sharing, and congratulations, Jasmine, on the scholarship, and continue to play on as you continue to master the flute and go further. Thank you so much. And Claire, a pleasure meeting you, and thank you for being with us here on Open.
Thank you for having us.
All righty, want to let you know now, if you want more information, please go ahead and visit the website at stgeorgesociety.org, stgeorgesociety.org. We don't want you to go anywhere. We do have more Open coming up, more show right after this. back to the show. Teens for Food Justice is a not-for-profit galvanizing a youth-led food justice movement working to ensure that all New Yorkers have access to fresh, healthy food and to end the cycle of health complications dramatically and unequally impact low-income New Yorkers of color. Well, joining us to share a little bit more about the work that they do is Team for Food Justice's CEO and founder, Catherine Saul, and then also program participant, Selena Williams. And welcome both to Open.
Hi.
Hi. And so, Catherine, I'll let you start off because when we talk about Teens for Food Justice, an important organization, but young people who are really attacking a problem that we have right here in our city.
Yes, yes. And it's really important that young people become the leaders and the voice for change around these intransigent social justice issues that have been plaguing our communities for such a long period of time. I'm a lifelong New Yorker. I've seen the city become what I consider to be more and more inequitable in terms of wealth distribution and distribution of resources, and really fundamentally believe that that has to change. And I think when kids really become knowledgeable and empowered to address and speak to these problems, they have the ability to become the adults who change our system. And we're really excited every day when we see the enthusiasm that kids have for becoming the voice to these issues and the passion that students like Selena have for food justice, which, you know, just sits at the intersection of so many inequities across our city, across our nation, and across the world.
Right. So Selena, as a teenager, being engaged in an organization that's really dealing with really boots on the ground, of dealing with food insecurity and really trying to get people fed. Talk to me about what you've learned about food insecurity.
Well, I learned like there's different like topics like almost every week. So we learn like different types of way how people suffer when it comes to food and how to get it, because there's many ways to get it, but a lot of people don't have the information. So we want to spread the information on how to get it and how to help and spread it across the community, even the city.
Right. Has it surprised you to find out how many people really have a lack of access to food and are really not eating well?
Yes, but no, because there's a lot of places you could get food from school, the church, food banks, stuff like that. But many people are not willing to go. So there's this new thing. It's like a refrigerator on the street, and a lot of people put food in it. So if you're not feeling open to going to like a church or something, you could just go on the street, open the door, and grab some food.
Yeah. Kathy, about food justice, obviously these young people are very engaged, very connected, and wanting to make a difference. There is this educational component where they become more knowledgeable about that. Talk to me about the students that you work with and what it's like for you. Really, for some of them, they already have the light on, but also in many ways for you, you're helping to turn the light on for some of them.
Correct. And I think that, you know, what Selena just spoke to is a critical component of what we address, which is, you know, it really shouldn't be that people need to go to food pantries, that people need to go to a refrigerator on the corner. You know, good quality food should be available affordably to everyone, and people should be earning enough money to be able to feed their families and not having to make the choice between paying their rent, purchasing clothes for their kids, healthcare, or food. And our goal is to fundamentally change our food system, which is really broken, so that, you know, this need for chronic food assistance, which is what we're calling emergency food assistance, goes away. And what we do in our schools is we teach students how to grow food themselves. We build very high capacity hydroponic farms in schools that grow thousands of pounds of produce a year. And our students are trained in this technology as connected to their STEM classes. We know that alternative methods for growing foods, including indoors, is going to be the wave of the future. It is projected to be a $3 trillion industry within the next 10 years. And as a result, our belief is that our students, particularly students who live in communities that have been disenfranchised from good quality, healthy food, should be the leaders not only participants in this workforce, but the leaders in this workforce, and benefiting from that. And at the same time, fundamentally changing the foodscape that's around us all. So we work to engage our students in the process of growing, but also understanding health and nutrition, the importance of a plant-based diet, the importance of not eating a lot of processed, prepackaged food, and also, understanding the systems that have gotten us to the place where that is the preponderance of food that's available in many communities, and how to advocate to change those systems.
And so you talked a little bit about hydroponic farming, and I want to bring Selena in to share a little bit more about your experience with hydroponic farming and what's it mean to you?
Well, this is like a first time thing, growing my own plant. Like I have it right here. I don't know if you can see it.
I can.
It's basil, and we made this on March 21st. And it took about almost a month for it to grow this much. And it's been fun because I got to learn the cons and pros about growing your own, plants and stuff, because it could help in the future if I ever need it. And there's another one. I have to add more seeds, but like I said, you learn from your mistakes. So I go always try again.
Well, I'll put it like this: you're doing better than me. How about that? And so, Kathy, it's a learning experience, as we said, and Selena's very transparent. Listen, I may not have it all together, but I'll get it right. And what's it like, for you as as an organizer, to be able to do this for young people, where you're really giving them this experience and exposure?
Right. So, in the schools, which we're so excited that, we're going to be able to be fully back in and, growing food at, capacity in our hydroponic farms next year with students like Selena, to be able to give them that experience is, phenomenal. And kids walk into the farm and they just light up. They just light up to imagine that you could grow food indoors. And for some of the kids, some of the things that we're growing are foods they've never seen before. Quite frankly, I wasn't tremendously familiar with some of the produce that we grow in our farms before I saw it growing. But for this year, during COVID, while our schools were closed, I think that giving students the opportunity to grow hydroponically at home, to have the experience of growing their own food at home in an alternative way that doesn't require soil in an urban environment, and where they have the capability to produce something for themselves, I think is very powerful, particularly at a time when we know that, food has been hard to come by. People have really struggled. Food insecurity has spiked. It's gone up more than 35% in New York alone. So to have the ability to grow some of your own food and to do that in sustainable and unique ways, I think has been a really powerful hands-on experience for kids. And I think that, in a time when education has been remote, to be able to plug in and do something in that kind of hands-on way has been really beneficial to their overall learning experience during what has been a very challenging time.
Well, Kathy, Selena, I want to thank you so much for being with us. Teens for Food Justice, and you guys are doing a great work in dealing with food insecurity. And Selena, listen, if you can teach me anything, I'm open.
No problem.
All righty. Thank you guys for being with us. All right, well, I'll let you know now, if you want more information, please do me a favor. Visit their website, and their website is teensforfoodjustice.org, and then follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Teens for Food Justice. We encourage you, don't go anywhere. We do have more open coming up. We'll be back right after this. And welcome back to the show. Our next guest has a great history, a rich one. He's got a resume that serves in the military and goes from there to becoming also a model, a fashion designer, as well as a social media influencer. He is finally reaping the benefits of his work, spent modeling, fashion designing, and acting, and creating grooming products. He is a social media influencer and model coordinator at Richmond, Virginia Fashion Week. Stephen Atkins, and we welcome you back to the show, Steve. Good to have you, man.
Thanks, man. Great to be here. So good to see you, and missed you guys, and I'm just really thankful and humbled to be here again.
Yeah, well, a lot is going on since the last time we got together, and you know, you got not just you're doing the modeling piece, but also you've got a grooming line. So tell me about this.
Yeah, I'm so excited about it, getting into the actual grooming space. Coming out with, we just launched it last month, dealing with men's hair care products, beard care, hair care. So it's just one of these things that, you know, for the longest time, I always had companies reaching out to me that wanted me to either ambassador for them or represent their products. And it was one of those things that I just didn't really feel that comfortable doing. Now I know why. Being able to create and launch my own that I use personally, stand behind. Everything is all natural, made in California. So it's just fantastic to be entering into this new space.
Yeah, and it's a new space for you, but we've known you the last time we were talking, you were doing modeling, and talk to us about where that is, and I know you're still doing some great work there too.
Yeah, absolutely. So just recently landed my 4th magazine cover, which is pretty cool. One of those things that, you know, you set out goals to like, man, I one day would love to be able to do that. But I think with 2020, things kind of slowing down, it seems like everything is ramping up this current year, and it's just one thing after another. So still enjoying doing editorial modeling and doing features in magazines and stories behind kind of my rise to what I'm doing nowadays. Even get to model still a little bit for Richmond and in the DC area. We're going to be doing some shoots in Miami coming up. So it's nice to still be able to, you know, be in demand and get those shoots in when I can.
Yeah, staying very, very busy there too. And you're also a newest member of the Silver Fox Squad.
Oh yeah, man. That's one of my like highlights of this year. So I was actually approached by celebrity influencer Irvin Randall, as some of you may remember. He was Mr. Steal Your Grandma. He became kind of a national sensation a few years ago. And he decided to put together a group of men of like-minded Silver Fox gentlemen, really to collaborate and do good. So we wanted to set an example that as you age gracefully, that you can still be all about mental health, physical health, and still be on fashion, on point. So he had reached out to me a few months ago and asked, he's like, man, I would love for you to be a part of this group. So I went down to Houston and went through the introduction and did our intro videos. So there's 12 of us, which is really cool. Now, interestingly enough, this used to be a majority only in African-American men, but he wanted to reach across the aisle and make this more of a global, being the first white gentleman in the group. We're looking for Asian, we're looking for Latino. So he really wants to make this a global effort of Silver Fox gentlemen and really try to figure out the best way that as a force together, we can do good, show good fashion, keep health, all of those great things. So it's a great effort that we're putting together.
And so you have to create this balance, right? Because I mean, you got your grooming going, you got the Silver Fox going, you got, you know, photo shoots. What's it been like for you, you know, as this influencer and this public figure that now is all of a sudden got their calendar with very little white spaces?
It's been a lot of fun. I've actually had to hire an assistant, and I've got a manager. So it got to the point where, you know, you can only do but so much on your own. And I've just had to get to the point where I've hired the right people to help support. Because you're right, the calendar can get full really fast. It's interesting enough now that the more I'm out and about in Richmond, starting to get recognized, and, you know, I've done a lot of television commercials and editorial things here locally in publications. So it's interesting that you're getting to that point of, hey, I know you from somewhere, I've seen you somewhere. So that's been a lot of fun to kind of experience that now. But yeah, you're right. You've got to have the right team in place to kind of help me manage all the multiple things that I have going on.
Let me run back to your grooming products for a minute. They're out now. And so how do people put their hands on it?
Yeah, through, so I've got my website set up. It's stephenatkins.us, just www.stephenatkins.us. We ship globally. So it's really doesn't matter. Everything's there. You can select, pay for, and then we ship it direct. So I'm really excited about that. One of the main things that we're really pushing for currently is to get into your local barbershops and salons. So we do have wholesale pricing, so we can set that up for retail settings, which we see a lot of my local barbershops are loving it. And the fact that they can have that relation where it's the smaller business and they know me, and then there's that public figure aspect of it being able to attach to. So it's been really cool seeing it kind of grow from the ground up.
Yeah. So what advice are you giving to people these days? I mean, especially after COVID and the pandemic, because I won't say after because we're still navigating this, right? But what advice do you give? Because you've been heavy on the grind, even though things have been shut down.
Yeah, definitely. You just had to kind of diversify. A lot of the things that I've been giving advice on, since naturally people aren't wearing as much, going into work, our whole dynamic has kind of changed. I'm really getting into the capsule collection of clothing where you have like 10 or 15 pieces and they're all interchangeable. So you don't need, 100 pieces in your wardrobe anymore. You could really do 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 and then add some accessories to it. So that's really what I've been doing because people are dressing differently. So we're paring down a lot. We're getting rid of a lot of the clutter and let's just do like a capsule collection. So that's been a lot of fun to try to give that advice on, and as well as to try to find ways to still stay relevant in whatever industry that you're in, especially in the modeling industry, because a lot of the fashion weeks went virtual or a lot of things just kind of shut down. There's still ways that you can get involved with either via Zoom or via different publications that are still printing and things like that. So there's still opportunity out there, and even acting, getting into the smaller scale commercials and things of that nature. There's still plenty to do. You just kind of think outside the box a little bit.
Well, I'm gonna hire you so that way you can have me look at my Zoom best, and so we continue to navigate through this Zoom. Because everybody needs a little Zoom upgrade.
That's it. That's it. That's exactly right.
Stephen Atkins, good to have you here on the show again. Thanks again for being with us, brother.
Thanks, man. Great to see you. I really appreciate it.
Yes, and we want to let people know if you want more information, follow him on Instagram at Atkins.Stephen and also on Facebook at Model Stephen Atkins. Encourage you, don't go anywhere. We do have more coming back right after this.
If you're struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit, or call toll-free at 833-511-0311. That's 833-511-0311.
And welcome back to the show. Fresh Direct announced it'll be a sponsor of the 2021 Tribeca Festival, which takes place from Wednesday, June the 9th, all the way through Sunday, June the 20th, across New York City. Now, Fresh Direct, or I should say the Tribeca Festival, is bringing artists and diverse audiences together to celebrate storytelling in all of its forms. That includes film, TV, VR, gaming, music, and online work. And here to share a little bit more from Fresh Direct is the Chief Marketing Officer for Fresh Direct, Tammy Berenson. And thank you so much for being with us, Tammy.
Hi, great to be here, Darren. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. And, as we look right now and we're trying to navigate COVID, to know that there's going to be some outside activity, to know the Tribeca Festival is back in full effect, and then at the same time also having Fresh Direct as a sponsor has got to be a good feeling for your organization.
It's terrific. Tribeca and Fresh Direct both have a 20-year history serving New York City. And so we're so excited to be part of the group that is reigniting and reopening the city this summer.
Yeah, and this summer we're looking forward to seeing a whole lot happen with the Tribeca, Festival. Talk to us about Tribeca at Home.
So Tribeca at Home, we're an online business, Fresh Direct Grocery, so we have a lot of customers who like to do things only online. And so this year you can enjoy Tribeca from the comfort of your couch. There's an online platform where you can just sign up for your movies there and enjoy the whole festival right at home.
Yeah. And for you, it's got to be a good feeling also just to be able to say, listen, not only are we doing the work inside of the community in terms of providing food, but also you're helping others to be able to keep their lights on and do some things that, that really benefits the community as a whole.
That's right. So our signature charitable partner is New York Common Pantry. They're based in Harlem and in the Bronx, and they serve throughout the city. And so we are having a charitable dinner called Dinner and a Movie downtown, where we're featuring the movie Big Night, featuring Stanley Tucci. And we're serving an Italian dinner, and it's a fundraiser for New York Common Pantry that you can find out about at tribecafilm.com.
Yeah. And there's also going to be a very special screening right here in the Bronx, right?
We are super excited about that one because, our home is in the Bronx. Our facility is in Mott Haven. We have about 3,000 employees there. 1,000 of them are from the Bronx. So there are 4 screenings that are going to be in Soundview Park, and Fresh Direct is sponsoring all 4. There are some really interesting movies lined up. One is a documentary on Lincoln Hospital, which sounds really interesting. The other is a Rita Moreno biopic, which I'm really excited to see. So 4 screenings over 2 days, June 12th and 13th. So that's the weekend. They're free. You do need a ticket. So you just sign up at tribecafilm.com and get your free ticket because we are socially distancing in the park, but there'll be a big area set up. They have the screen on a giant truck. It's like a 52-foot trailer. And so they're going to bring that on into the park, and it's going to be a fun day with freebies from Fresh Direct and snacks. We're also going to bring that same screen to our headquarters in Mott Haven for a celebration with our employees, which is going to be fun too.
Yeah. This isn't your first time at the rodeo doing this. I mean, you've done it, for several years. Talk to us about the impact of the event.
So Tribeca Film Festival was started to bring back New York after September 11th. They've really gone out of their way through COVID, and now with this to spread throughout the city, to bring people out, to start activity. And it's a very important institution, and we're excited to be partnering with them on this.
Yeah, yeah. And so for you, what's the highlight of it all?
The highlights are going back to the movies again, to be honest with you. Going back to the movies, of course, Fresh Direct provides movie snacks, so freshdirect.com if you're looking for snacks. But going to the movies again is something we all miss. It's a American tradition, it's a New York City tradition, and we're excited to bring people back, enjoy themselves, be outside and together, because we know we haven't been in a long time. So excited to be with friends, hanging out in Soundview Park, watching some great movies.
Yeah. And what's it been like for you during this whole COVID crisis, really the pandemic, trying to navigate, business from a business perspective and then personally?
We were on a mission. We still are, to serve as many people as we possibly could in New York City and beyond. So it really gave us purpose. Partnering with New York Common Pantry to also serve our neighbors in need and taking that on during the pandemic. We raised $3 million over the past year on their behalf, and our customers did that. Our customers were so excited to add $5, $10, $20 to their basket. So being on a mission makes everything a little bit easier because we only have one way to go.
Right.
So, it was exciting. It's exciting to be through that now and on to our next adventures, but also to still support our customers, the city, our neighbors in need.
And it comes at a very important time, I think, as we're trying to rebound and get to where we need to go. Obviously, having an outdoor event, public gatherings, food, get-togethers, it's great. Tammy, thank you so much for what you do and for how Fresh Direct is really helping to bridge that gap.
Thank you, Darren.
All righty. Well, I want to let you know now, if you want more information about the Tribeca Film Festival or anything concerning what we talked about, please visit their website at freshdirect.com. Want to let you know that we come to the end of our show today. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us. Most of all, I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, don't forget, catch Recablecast on Optimum's Channel 67, Verizon Files Channel 2133, or anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. And if you want a brand new episode, come back on Friday morning. My girl, Rena Valentine, will bring you the best in arts and entertainment. Until next week, I'm Darren Jaime saying take care, God bless, and most of all, keep this channel wide open.